Thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same without wasting a single second of your time. Bada bing, bada boom, we go into the charts. So Bitcoin getting a little bit of a rejection off this 0.65 diagonal pitch fan that we've had price trapped in since January, and it likes to pivot on that 0.65 in times past. Do we do it again? Let's find out. Let's go into the liquidity of high block to save yourself some time. What is high block? Well, people lock that liquidity into the charts to get burnt to a crisp by the market maker for not using a stop loss, and we get to see where those crispy characters are. So let's go do it now as we go into the 1 minute. Shout out to everyone here. Boom, boom. Let's go take a look. So yesterday we were talking about coming up to this pool of 172 million 50x shorts, and they went and pinged off that liquidity to a T and reversed out from there.
Fatality.
And then they came down into these induced longs, came all the way down to their 50x brethren down here at 36,750, and went a little bit lower into the liquidity of that pool of 50xers down here, meanwhile inducing some shorts on the other end of the spectrum. Another $150 million pool, 100xers at 36,739 to come back to. Let's go ahead and look at the projection and hold our projection to the flame to see how it held up in court. So our projection after the live yesterday was to come up to this pool here at 37,421. And what did we do? Came up to that projection of 37,417. Sorry, I was off by $4. But we came up to it, and we were talking about after we hit that third hit to the high, we were talking about recovery of the wick and or 3 hits to the high. This is 1, 2, and 3. We would start to shift back down to possibly down to this region to reclaim this wick. And what is it we're doing? We are heading in that direction. So this is in the past, it did play out, so we can just delete that, and now we're on our merry way possibly to this region. It is now Tuesday, November 14th. Do we sweep this low? We already hit the low here. Do we continue to sweep it down to these wicks or not? That is the question now. So let's go expand our vision to the higher time frame pools. I have to make this one short and sweet to take my son to school by 9. So we will see as we go. All right, so even Steven on the liquidity here on the 7-day, for the most part, you got a lot more to the upside here. After we take out these pools, do we then get that surge up to fully recover the wick or not? 7-day is pinging both sides of the equation here, that we could come back to either side after we take out that lower liquidity pool, possibly 35.8 region. But you're starting to get thick pools up in that 38K and beyond. Let's go see what is up in that 38K. Do we come up into that region? That would put you above the range, really. So coming back to that region would bring you all the way back to the wick. So it's possible those could be the lucky campers that win out on the short if the shorts do start to play out into the retracement here. The reason being is on the higher time frame, we are starting to see that draw to the downside, and we were talking about they've been pounding the shorts pretty hard. They have to give the shorts a little bit of reprieve to build up the pools to fill up to 40K. To start to build that liquidity to 40K, they got to build a retracement and an idea of shorts opening trades to spawn liquidity in these regions at 39.6 and the empty zones up here. So coming back down and sweeping the lows at that 33k, 34k region could be the play that we're aiming at here. Let's go and see the 3-month time frame also starting to come down in a manner here. The liquidity draw to the downside, 34.4 and below. If you look at the 6-month, this is also saying very much the same. We've taken all of the short liquidity. Time to pull back a little bit. We've been talking about the pullback since the weekend, really. We're looking for that hit to the high and pullback. So it's doing exactly what we expect, which is a good thing. Coming back to that 33.6 beneath this range, taking out the liquidity here, double digits to the downside. You do have double digits. 40,000 has $50 billion up here, but they could just spawn this empty gap by coming down into some of these thicker gaps, because you have a larger amount of stops in profit beneath those lows. Okay, so enough about the liquidity, I think. Let's go into where we stand with the momentum and look at Litecoin and all that fun stuff. So let's go ahead and pop on the momentum here. Boom, 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 and link in the description for more. You can scroll down to the features, toggle everything at your leisure using the toggle switch, and or look at the components as we go over them, like the stochastic array. Now this stochastic array doesn't always have to come like this. I just turn on all the history. You could turn off the history and have just the latest one to remove the noise to see where we are currently. I like seeing it on all of the stuff, but I realize that could be busy for everyone. So okay, so what were we looking at? The one thing we were looking at here was the cross down event of the 12-hour time frame. So when we get there, we'll show you what we're talking about. But the baselines on the daily crossed down back here, and you had this extended M, and you're starting to get that fatigue of the baselines above the price on the daily. We were talking about the 3-day coming above this adaptive moving average. The last time we hit that adaptive was back in March of last year and rejected off it. We did manage to close a candle above that, so looking to come to that 36.337 region and holding it would be ideal for upside if we can close a 3-day candle above that. Most likely you will wick down into this pool below, recover some of the gap, maybe even meander around and play around in this region. You have some time for this average on the Williams to come up a little bit higher before it crosses. The money flow and the RSI on the 3-day are even Steven, so it could go any way at this time on the 3-day. 3-day is overbought overall. Daily flashing that alarm cross signal as the KD lines come down here on the, and this time the RSI is coming down to the money flow. This is one of those rare occasions where the money flow is not going up to the RSI. The RSI is coming down to it, and you're getting that money, that alarm cross on the daily. So this means watch out for some acceleration to the downside, perhaps. So you have the daily working against you. The 22 looking to reset here. You had some bearish divergence crystals, and the money flow is above the RSI, suggesting more acceleration down to that region. You got the alarm cross on the Williams as well, back tested levels to look out for. Same thing with the 12-hour RSI coming down to the money flow as we chill out here. Yesterday what we were looking at here was the flash. Just as we were coming off the live, we were saying look in the 20 minutes after the close that this would close with that helix intact, and those leading moving averages of the baselines do let you know when to possibly look for a reversal. Now if we start to go a little bit lower, starting to get some vector candles on the 6-hour, some and the Williams suppression of the stochastic, and we're coming to that. We came down to that low here, tapped it a second time. Do we break down into the cloud? And the super trend on the 6 hour, 4 hour also has even Steven on the money flow. You broke below the 50 level. Do you keep seeing this suppression of the 4 hour as well? The 4 hour is breaking the cloud in 11 minutes. If you close at this level, you will close beneath the cloud and possibly trigger some algorithmic sauce to accelerate down to the wick here. This level is once again 35,987, basically 36K. And then looking at the hourly time frame, getting that suppression, came up to the 50 level, rejected. We have the cloud acceleration after the bearish retest of the cloud. This is something you can do on all sides of the equation. When you come back above the cloud, you get that rise, retrace, continuation idea of the cloud when it's thinning. This is your key entry idea, higher probability setup. You see this come beneath the cloud and boom, this acceleration slash displacement, whatever you want to call it. You have this thinning in its purple, and it was hitting a key region, and there you go. Even gave you a third attempt here. And yeah, so let's go into the lower time frame. It is Tuesday, so Tuesday should look to complement this move, but we are, once again, we are range bound, so this is just a complete range. We could just ping pong back up again. Once again, the shorts pinged to the tune of 151 million at 37,121. So coming back to that 37,121 region, there is a pool up here. There is a pool of shorts up in this region that they could come back to, the 50xers. This is a lot of choppy, ugly price action as they eat into stop losses and induce people. Overall, I'd like to see the healthy retrace idea if the continuation is the idea here, sweeping the lows. There's some fair value gaps down here as well. And yeah, you're basically oversold on the hourly, oversold on the 4 hour, starting to get oversold on the 15 minute. But the thing to watch out for is acceleration of that dump beneath this cloud. Why is that? Well, when you have the Williams momentum in your favor, even though you're oversold on the stochastic RSI, the Williams gives you that suppression inbound idea. And especially if you got those alarms, those subtle alarms happening here, those could suppress those time frames from takeoff. So this is not a discount region to be going long, in my humble opinion. So please be aware of that. Any bounce might just be to stop out the shorts before extreme acceleration to the downside. Be aware of that. And also closing beneath this cloud on the 4 hour should cause this a little bit to come to the super trend as well. We only had one hit to this wick here, so coming back down, consolidating on the wick might be the play. Let's go see how LTC fared for my man Signified, and it did not take off beyond that region. So this 706, I call the 706 over here the trap door, because it either gets permission at the trap door or not to go higher. The trap door is your guide to watch out for. If you cannot close candles above the 706 region, then you basically start to break down there. This is like when they have too much liquidity up in that region, they reject. They rejected before once, twice. This is the third rejection. Power of threes in the 786, battering ram their head up against the 786 wall and then start to come lower. What is this projection, you say? It's from these 3 clicks, from this impulse to this retrace. You can use a trend-based fib level. This is how trend-based fibs work. You use the impulse and the retrace idea, and then that will project the math into the future to show you resistance levels and take profit zones. And we did not make it up to that confluence zone we were talking about just yet. And the line in the sand for the bullish trend-based fib is that 236 at 68.63, which had a V-shaped, so they could be coming back down to it. They've negated this impulse here, so this is essentially negated at that 786. This is 3 hits to it. I would consider it negated, and coming back below this possible super trend on Litecoin on the 4-hour as they retrace back down to these deeper impulse levels slash the 236 of the trend-based fib. What does the liquidity suggest for Litecoin? Let's go ahead and take a look real quick. So if we join the momentum group here, it teaches how to trade. I mean, there's here, I'll just post the link to, where is it? Give me a sec, let me find it real quick. Okay, here. This is the free Discord you can come and hang out at. There's a bunch of materials in there. Shout out to my man Rainier. That's his Discord that I post stuff in. But yeah, you can take a look at that one for free and see what's up. So yeah, what made you want to live in Japan? Well, I came to Japan in high school when I was a high school student, obviously, and then I came for summer vacation and just enjoyed 3 weeks here, and then got inspired to study the language and come a bunch of times, and then that was basically the inspiration to move out for a year, which turned into 20 years. I didn't expect to be here as long as I am, but I got a family, got a house, got a green card, so I can be here forever, basically, if I wanted to. And then America is not really making it so exciting to want to go back with a lot of their crazy ideologies and things like that, but that's for another discussion. All right, so we're coming back beneath the cloud. The cloud is thinning. One thing to note is this thinning cloud nature. You don't want this type of angle for an upside play. You're starting to get fatigue. And so even if you did come back above here, you could be bearishly retesting to go lower. This is like your ABC possibility here. So the key level, if we come lower, to watch for this trend to be over at is here at that 68.63 level. So we gotta take a look quickly at the altcoins and stuff. Most likely they're retracing after seeing a large surge to the upside. We did see this cross down event of the 4 hours starting to come back to the cloud, the super trend possibly getting a test. The last time the super trend held on November 7th and November 10th. Are we going to get a holding of this super trend on the 4 hour or not? As we retrace back in, the USDT dominance starting to ground out here and round out and come back above and have a slight shift in structure here above this cloud. Do we hold the cloud and start to shift it? This means people getting kicked out into USDT as they take profits. As a good trader would, taking profits is a good thing. Nothing wrong with anyone who pays themselves along the journey more to invest later at better entry levels. So you come back to this cloud. We've reclaimed this curvature here on the hourly, suggesting you get a little bit more of an upside play to the USDT dominance, meaning more people getting stopped out here. You might batter your head up against the adaptive here, come back down, and then come higher. 5 time frames oversold on USDT dominance, the Bitcoin dominance. Bitcoin dominance also coming up as the alt attention turns to Bitcoin as they rest in USDT, coming back to that golden pocket region, the 0.66, 0.65 level, the smart money level just below the 618, starting to come back above the 618 of the dominance retrace discount level. This is also a SR flip zone here back on the 5215 region, so this could be retesting for a continuation idea coming up to these regions. So the dominance might take off here if we accelerate to the downside. Dominance while Bitcoin dropping means watch out for your alts, so watch out for your alts. And yeah, if we were looking at NQ gearing up for the CPI data release, please beware of the Forex factory. What news is inbound? You can see there's some red folders coming, the CPI today and the wage index tomorrow, and another CPI for Germany. There's a lot, PPI for 2 days from now. So this week is loaded with folders that will impact news left and right. And we're starting to get a cross down flash on the 12-hour for the NQ. So I'm thinking, well, I was thinking for yesterday, but yesterday was a slow sideways day. I was thinking for the NQ, we're coming down to this golden pocket region at least until Thursday then, and then possibly make a run up on Friday. So give me a second. I gotta stick my story in make a conclusion because it's 9 o'clock and I gotta take my son to school. Sorry about this, cut it short. But basically, see, we got news inbound, so be aware of that. Coming down to these regions, sweeping these lows is something I would like to see personally. Just based on a healthy retrace is a good thing, and coming down to these regions because we projected it would be nice to see as well. So that is my story and I'm sticking to it. Watch out for the news. Trade high probability setups only, and spelling is off. You get the Ohio gozaimasu. Nice. Any hopium? Got any hopium for Litecoin? I mean, a retrace is a good coin, a good thing. I don't know. I don't really care for any altcoins personally, but yeah, like I said, coming down to this region, looking for a reaction on the 236 perhaps, but that could just be a shoulder head and a shoulder idea, but you might get a little shoulder bounce, right shoulder bounce, who knows. And on that note, ladies and gents, I must bid you adieu. I apologize for cutting it short. My son awaits, so thank you for coming on into the live and sharing your essence with me in this eternal moment of which we all share an inextricable and inexorable part. Thank you for doing your part, for coming on in each and every day, and we'll do the same, bringing the fire.